Continuing from the previous episode 1795. Ray comes. Zitsa. Reggie was obviously not going to let Xiaoyan go, and looking at his fierce attack, he was obviously not going to release water. He wanted to completely obliterate Xiaoyan with one blow. The lightning attribute of the initial level of 7-star fighting immortals. Hoo, it's really a strong enemy. Looking at Lei Ji surrounded by black and red thunder in front of him, Xiaoyan could smell a thunderous destruction and evil intention from it. The fluctuation of that level, even at his peak at this time. During this period, I am afraid that only serious injuries can be managed reluctantly. If I am a little careless, I am afraid that my situation will be extremely miserable. But, still have to try. And that thing seems to have an extremely important position for me. After a while, Xiaoyan's body rose and fell violently. The amber-colored holy flame was like a flame elf, beating violently, and he seemed to feel the black-red thunder. Terrifying power, the amber flame burned violently, completely igniting this gloomy space. Die. Seeing Xiaoyan's actions like this, Lei Ji raised his palm, and countless black and red thunderbolts all over his body suddenly gathered towards his palm, and an evil thunder palm appeared quietly. Soul Shadow. Xiaoyan's pupils shrank tightly, and his strength has skyrocketed to the late stage of 6-star Do Xian. With the addition of the blessings of dual realms and Do Spirit, a heavy weight still pervades. Mingsha Profound Palm. Seeing Xiaoyan struggling like an ant, Lei Ji smiled and raised his palm. Suddenly, a dignified oppression by the power of heaven and earth emerged, even the black-red thunder evil palm. Under the gaze of Xiaoyan, the flow of Do Qi in Xiaoyan's body became slow. Soul Power. The pattern of domination. Stop it for me. Seeing the overwhelming attack, Xiaoyan snorted coldly and tried his best to resist it. Boom! The incomparably hot flame energy spread like spring water, but it was obviously too reluctant to be able to see Xiaoyan's figure and the rapid collapse. Crackling. With a sound, a harsh sound of metal collision appeared in this strange space. What is this? Can you actually resist my attack? Reggie looked at the mysterious item at the center of the explosion with an incredible look. His attack just now was enough to obliterate any 6-star Dushan perfection level powerhouse. How could this be? This is the ancient ruler of different fires? And Xiaoyan's soul power suddenly emerged. He was just preparing to deal with the next attack, but when he saw the ancient ruler of different fires, his mind suddenly shrank. A panic emerged. Wang Om! At this moment, the splendid eternal fire eternal ruler is very different from the past. It is tall and majestic, suspended in the midair of the field, like a rainbow, with 22 different patterns of different colors like tiny divine patterns, tightly fitting the ruler. The breath on the ancient ruler of different fires suddenly became completely different from before. Is it a fairy weapon? But the breath doesn't seem right. At this moment, Reggie also noticed the ancient ruler of different fire, and immediately opened his mouth coldly. The gorgeous flame pattern on the heavy ruler seemed to contain the power of endless majesty. Even if it is his strength, he dare not underestimate it. No, this level of fluctuation is definitely not an immortal weapon. Amber Rock Soul Fire, give it to me. At the next moment, Xiaoyan's pupils flickered uncertainly. In combination with the past, his palm slowly rubbed the heavy ruler on top of his palm, and a resonance continued to emerge from the ruler, as if Shang Xiaoyan asks for something in general, and is extremely greedy. This is Holy Flame Fire? Susu. Seeing Xiaoyan revealing his trump card completely, Lei Ji's eyes became gloomy, and the black-red thunder field filled the air, completely wrapping the two of them. Boom! With Xiaoyan's attack, after the ancient ruler of Yuo Heng was injected with the Amber Rock Soul Fire after the fusion of the 4-color holy flames, the ancient ruler of Yuo Heng had already erased the flames of Yuo because of Xiaoyan. The 22 different fire patterns seemed to have been injected with endless nutrient vitality, becoming clear and conspicuous, and even a strong aura that surpasses the heavens and the earth, completely diffused. I can't see that you actually have the existence of holy flames, and the ranking of holy flames doesn't seem to be low. And this heavy ruler should also be a good thing. Boy, it is your honor to be able to fall into my hands. Let me inherit this kind of thing for you. Ha ha ha. In the black-red realm, countless thunders were squirming on the ground like a swamp, and every squirming would bring forth an extremely terrifying aura. The power of that level of thunder was outrageous. It really means that. Here comes the ruler. At this moment, Xiaoyan's palm was wrapped in amber holy flame, and Hua Li tightly held the ancient ruler of eternal fire in a strange state. Boom! Stop for me. Just after holding the ancient ruler of Yuo Heng, a strong repulsion came from the ruler. That repulsive force directly shook Xiaoyan's internal organs up and down, and his aura became chaotic. Feng Ju. At the moment of crisis, Xiaoyan closed his eyes and rested his mind. The most mysterious exercises in his body started to work, and the battle qi and holy flames that had been tempered by Feng Ju converged towards the ancient ruler of the eternal fire. Immediately, the different fire-constant ancient ruler slowly returned to calm. However, at this time, the eternal fire of eternal fire had obviously caused some changes due to the fire of Xiaoyan's holy flame. I don't have time to accompany you to waste time here. Let's make a move to decide the outcome. Holding the ancient ruler of Yuo Heng, Xiaoyan only felt that a steady stream of power was coming from the ancient ruler of Yuo Heng. Flowing out from above, constantly nourishing his body, it seems that if he cuts at will, he can obliterate Reggie. At this moment, Xiaoyan felt that he was the asterisk of death who held the power of life and death. What the asterisk is this guy doing? At this moment, Lei Ji also smelled a supreme power that was not inferior to him from Xiaoyan, and his heart twitched. I don't know why, when looking at the heavy ruler with 22 flame patterns in Xiaoyan's hand, an extremely uneasy fluctuation made his eyelids jump violently, and the 22 flame patterns were like ancient words. Under the baking of Xiaoyan's amber flame, it slowly condenses, and in a short period of time, it will evolve into an unknowable mysterious force. Pretend to be a ghost. Thunder penalty. 9 evil thunder punishment. Looking at such a strange Xiaoyan Lei Ji's body, black and red thunders continued to transform, and finally turned into a total of 9 black and red thunder beams, filling his body. On top of each thunder beam, there are dense black and red lines. Those lines are like evil lines drawn at will by the asterisk of evil. It seems that every line contains the evil power to obliterate all living beings. I count on you. Boom! Xiaoyan opened his mouth softly, with a calmness in his voice, and said to the ancient ruler of eternal fire in the palm of his hand, Wang buzzing. As soon as Xiaoyan's voice fell, a burst of dazzling light and sound erupted from the ancient ruler of eternal fire. Fusion. This is the holy pattern? Artifact? How is that possible? At this moment, countless thunderbolts trembled in the entire thunder domain. They were frightened, fearful, and trembling, and the root cause was the ancient ruler of eternal fire Heng in Xiaoyan's hands. At this time, Xiaoyan seemed to be in the middle of some kind of special insight. He only felt that his mind was dizzy. It seemed that an ancient voice, like a real god's mansion, kept echoing in his mind. The holy pattern shines in the world, the evil is surging in the world, the gods are beginning to appear, the demons appear in the world, and the war begins. This is a prophecy, and it is also the belief of the entire world. Continuing from the previous episode 1796. How is this possible? How could you possibly have an artifact? How could you have a holy flame? That's impossible. Looking at the eyes closed and resting, it seemed that when Lei Ji's legs became weak, the thunder force around him was completely destroyed by the different fire. The holy pattern above the ruler was broken, and even the evil fighting spirit in Reggie's body suddenly refused to obey. At this time, Reggie was sitting on the ground like a cripple. On the other hand, the ancient ruler of Yuo Heng was tightly held by Xiaoyan. At the same time, at the center of the ruler, a pattern of light surrounded by colorful flames touched an ancient word for king, illuminating the entire field. The confinement and divine power on it filled with a sense of anxiety and anxiety. Squeak. With a sound, the Emperor Yan ring, which had been hidden in Xiaoyan's body, also appeared on Xiaoyan's fingers when Xiaoyan was not paying attention. Even inside the Emperor Yan ring, a line like a sleeping giant just woke up. The illusory figure, Wei Wei, sits in it, like an old man from ancient times. The holy pattern shines in the world, the evil is surging in the world, the gods are beginning to appear, the demons appear in the world, and the war begins. This is a prophecy, and it is also the belief of the entire great thousand world. What does this mean? Xiaoyan opened his eyes slightly, muttered, and kept repeating this incantation in his mouth, just after the mutation of Yuo Hang ancient ruler, these words kept popping up in Xiao Yan's mind among. How did you know this prophecy? At this moment, the fighting spirit in Lei Ji's eyes subsided, as if he had experienced endless fear. He raised his head with difficulty and looked at Xiao Yan, who was aloof. It's over. Xiao Yan shook his head gently, raised his palm, and the ancient ruler of eternal fire, blessed by the king character, burst into a dazzling divine light, and slashed towards Reggie gently. Bang bang bang. With a slight slash, it did not bring any energy fluctuations. There was only a brilliant flame of light killing Reggie. Suddenly Reggie had no time to resist, a tyrannical coercion of heaven and earth, nothing else. The voice, Reggie's figure, completely disintegrated, completely destroyed by this blow, and vanished into ashes. Hoo. After beheading Lei Ji so easily, the thunder domain dissipated directly, restoring the dark and gloomy space here, but the holy pattern on Xiao Yan's Yuo Hang ancient ruler was also light like a flash in the pan. Disappeared, and even Xiao Yan directly collapsed on the soil, gasping for breath. As for the prophecy, I am afraid that he can only think about it after the battle is over. The blow just now seemed to be bland, but only Xiao Yan knew that that blow consumed 90% of his power, and the change in the eternal fire eternal ancient ruler was obviously related to the amber rock soul fire in his body. Xiao Yan is not very clear about the situation. Such a blow consumes 90% of his power, and he seems to be able to rely on the power of the soul and the power of the holy flame to perceive that this level of attack does not seem to be the limit of the ancient ruler of different fire, and at this time even if the holy pattern is turned on, it seems that the ancient ruler of different fire has not completely revealed its glory. It seems that this thing is very likely to be one of the artifacts in the Great Thousand World. Master, the leader of Reggie, was beheaded by the kid with the soul power of the fairyland. There was no violent energy fluctuation. The soul and body were destroyed together. I'm afraid there is something extraordinary in him. Xiao Yan just appeared. The eyes of everyone above the canopy of the evil tree were projected towards Xiao Yan, and Gamma said, "Now he can't make any big waves. We have other important things to do. Stone guilty, he's dying now, so I'll leave it to you. If you can't solve him, then you can apologize with death." Mao, who was headed, was staring at a dark space above the evil tree. "Yes, master." As soon as the voice fell, an evil figure in the canopy swept towards Xiao Yan, but when this guy's eyes looked at Xiao Yan, there was obviously something wrong, as if he knew each other. "Susu, Lord Mar has such a feast, why are we missing our soul palace? Do you think so?" After a while, Mar stared at the place, the space trembled violently, shattered completely with a bang, and suddenly a large and eerie black mist emerged. The black mist kept shaking and instantly turned into dozens of black lines. Shadows emerged like ghosts. "The guy from the Soul Palace is finally here?" Looking at these guys, Mar smiled faintly, as if he had expected it. "The Hall Master Xuantong and Hall Master Huang Hall of Soul Hall really looked down on us." At this moment, Gamma walked over first, and everyone tightly protected the evil tripod. 8-star fighting immortals? Looking at this, the power of the Soul Palace doesn't seem to be as simple as it seems. Xiao Yan kept running the Fenju to recover his fighting spirit, walking while escaping the pursuit of the rock criminal, but his eyes were on the dark passage just now. The two headed by the dozens of shadows that emerged. A terrifying fear emerged in my heart. It now seems that the overall strength of the Soul Palace is also clear. At the bottom, there are 12 Soul Reverends who work for it, followed by the 5 Soul Guards, and at the top are the 4 Hall Masters of the Heaven and Earth Xuanwang, and I am afraid it is the Soul Palace at the end. The main class. Xiao Yan also had a clear goal in his heart, and for some reason, Xiao Yan always felt that the 3 of Sin, the Soul Palace and the foreign evil clan seemed to be somewhat strangely connected. The 5th Sin Master Sima's masterpiece really makes us ashamed. No wonder it is always remembered by our Hall Master. People's breathing became dignified. This is a good thing. If we bring it back, the Lord of the Palace should be very happy, so I don't know if Lord Mar will give up his love. At this moment, the Hall Lord of Xuantong stared at the agate-like fruit in the evil cauldron behind everyone. Greed Road. Then see if you have the strength. Stop them for me. The last 10 minutes. As long as the fruit is completely mature, then this time, we will win. Mao heard the words, his pupils shrank suddenly, and the dark green energy instantly completely protected himself and the evil cauldron. There are countless humans and sea beasts on the evil tree. It quickly projected towards the evil cauldron, and for a while, the agate-like fruit inside it became an evil glow, and there were faint signs of maturity. Everyone, treat our old friends well. Soul Wuji, the other guys are all handed over to you. I'll deal with Mar myself. At this moment, Xuantang Hall Master Soul Yan said with a gloomy smile. Okay. Wangtang Hall Master Soul Wuji smiled slightly immediately. He took the Soul Hall powerhouse and attacked the many sinners directly. Come out. There will be fierce battles around, except Xuantang Hall Master Soul Yan quietly standing next to the tree canopy, looking at Mar, who has turned into a dark green blood mist and an evil cauldron, and said softly. He. Soul Flame, why do you think this is necessary? We sin and cooperate with your Soul Hall to lead the army of evil tribes from outside the domain into the Daqin world. Then the Daqin world also has a corner of our place. As soon as the voice of the Soul Flame fell, the void around the evil cauldron suddenly collapsed. A green-haired elegant man stepped out gracefully. No. Our Soul Palace is different from yours. How can you see it? You are willing to be the lackeys of the foreign evil race, but our Soul Hall is different. This great world will be ours sooner or later. As soon as the voice fell, a battle was about to start. The battle between the two powerhouses in the early stage of the 8-star fighting immortals, as well as a melee about the evil fruit conspiracy, started completely. Continuing from the previous episode 1797. Strange. This sinner only has the midterm strength of 6-star Do Xian, but why has he kept a distance from me? And looking at this appearance, it doesn't seem to be malicious to me? Xiao Yan concealed the breadth of his figure and moved quickly under the shroud of darkness, while watching the rock criminal who came to chase him, feeling strange. Shish, brother Xiao Yan, it's me. Just when Xiao Yan was surprised, a soul force from the rock sinner behind him entered Xiao Yan's mind. Ji Xuan? Xiao Yan was surprised when this voice emerged. Brother Xiao Yan, it's me. I have to follow Mar for some things, so. Ji Xuan was still covered in black robes, and he kept chasing Xiao Yan as an envoy of rock crime, making an appearance of wanting to kill Xiao Yan, but every attack was just right and did not cause much damage to Xiao Yan. This is Mar and Soul Hall? Xiao Yan communicated with him while moving. He's working on devil fruits, and he wants to recreate a whole new property. And for the election of the princess, I was originally just investigating the affairs of Shuiyuan City, but I was involved here unexpectedly, brother Xiao Yan. No matter whether this devil fruit is ripe or not, these guys must not be allowed to get it, otherwise there will be endless troubles. Ji Xuan said solemnly, I know, but just by virtue of the two of us joining forces, it seems. Xiao Yan seemed to be hesitant to speak. Rest assured, we can use their power to destroy them directly, even if we can't get it. Okay. The two hit it off, but now the two are pretending to fight, but they are secretly gathering strength and waiting for the final battle. In order to cope with the army of the Soul Palace, the other powerhouses naturally did not notice this scene. On the other hand, Hall Master Huang Tang, Soul Wuji, took the Soul Hall powerhouses and directly defeated Gamma's sinners. I'm afraid it's only a matter of time before they win. It's really rare for a Dharma protector in the midst of a dignified crime to give up his life for a sinner. Above the canopy of the evil tree, Soul Yan looked at the dark green elegant man in front of him with cold eyes, and spoke softly. With the intelligence network of their Soul Palace, it is naturally not difficult to know the division of forces among sins. From the bottom of the crime guard, followed by the crime envoy, then the crime division, and among the crimes, there are a few extremely powerful beings. These people are collectively called the law protectors. These law protectors are powerful, for the sake of among the protection crimes. Some weak but special ones exist. My name is White Protector. Today is just to protect Lord Mal. If you are sensible, you can retreat. At this moment, a silver feather fan suddenly appeared on the palm of the elegant man. A gloomy evil force permeates the evil tree, and that kind of force is like the strongest creature standing at the top of the food chain standing in the cloud, looking down at the ants. Stop talking slanderous words, it is still unknown who will kill the deer. Soul Yan smiled faintly, as if he had the confidence to win this battle. As soon as the words fell, Soul Yan and Bai Hufa directly launched an offensive that filled the sky. I saw Soul Yan take the lead, and the figure jumped, and he appeared above the sky of the lair. He flipped his hands, and a cloud of blood mist came out of his body. It shot out, and enveloped the body of Protector White with the momentum of thunder. In the tumbling blood mist, countless ghosts opened their mouths and cracked their teeth, madly eroding the body of Protector Bai like a vicious dog, trying to asterisk his blood and his evil power. Tricks of carving insects. Seeing this, Bai Fawei snorted softly, and then the silver feather fan on the palm of his hand shook slightly, and an ink-colored evil yin wind suddenly emerged from the feather fan, and immediately dispelled the blood mist. Even countless ghosts and souls in the fog let out bursts of piercing screams. Is it an evil weapon? Looking at the white guard, his face was not shocked, but Sol Yan's eyes were aware of this silver feather fan, which was obviously not an ordinary weapon. But it's too small to look down on me. Blood devours the sky, Sol locks. After a while, there were bursts of gloom in Sol Yan's eyes, and when the figure moved, there were bursts of harsh voices under the black robe, and dozens of pitch-black chains were like poisonous snakes. Emergence, without any pause, blasted away directly at the white protector, which contained that kind of sinister and corrosive power, which made people shudder. One fan. Looking at Sol Yan's method, the eyes of Protector Bai glowed with evil ink, and the silver feather fan on the palm of his hand was gently instigated. At that time, a beam of ink-colored energy turned into an evil long sword, facing the sinister chains, resist and go. Ding ding ding! The two figures staggered in the sky of the lair, the dark swords and jet-black chains were constantly intertwined in the sky, and bursts of violent energy fluctuations spread like tides. The harsh sound and strong energy fluctuations stimulated everyone present. Give me a lock. Seeing Protector Bai's fierce means, there were bursts of ugly meaning on Sol Yan's cheeks. Boom! The voice of the soul flame fell, and above the countless jet-black chains, bursts of grief and wailing emerged, and suddenly broke free from the resistance of the ink-colored sword, stepped through the void, and suddenly eroded away against the body of the White Guardian. At this moment, there was a hint of surprise on the handsome face of Protector Bai. The two were of equal strength. They were both in the early stage of the 8-star fighting immortals. This soul flame could actually crack his own attack, which is really not to be underestimated. Protector Bai's cheeks were icy cold, and the ink-colored long sword suspended in the sky was suddenly retracted and held in his hands. After a while, Yu read www. When linked to youcanshoot.com waited for the dark chain to approach his body a few feet, the ink-colored long sword on his palm swung abruptly, creating a very strange loneliness, and directly resisted the dark chain at an extremely tricky angle. Through the gap in the chain, he assassinated the black mist around Sol Yan. Bang bang bang! I didn't expect the white guard to be so calm, and the black mist around Sol Yan shook violently. Obviously, the white guard's attack just now had a big impact on him. Woo! After a while, those pitch-black chains were easily hit by the white guard's long sword, and suddenly shattered and split open, and one after another, like a transparent phantom soul body, suddenly shot away at the surrounding of the nest. In the surprised expressions of everyone, they fled around, and even above those soul bodies, one after another vague tiny chains imprisoned their soul origin. These guys actually use the soul body to refine weapon chains? And there seems to be something wrong in this guy's body. At this moment, Xiao Yan's expression became unusually solemn, because with Xiao Yan's soul strength and intuition, he could smell the body of the hall master of the soul hall Xuantong, Sol Yan. A creepy smell. Not only the strange soul body transformed by the dark chains, but even its body, a wave of ancient fluctuations quietly permeates. Xiao Yan had never seen this kind of power, but he knew vaguely. That is, the power of faith. Continuing from the previous episode 1798. His female horse, this bastard. At this moment, Xiao Yan couldn't help but exclaimed foul language in his heart. Xiao Yan didn't know what the power of faith was. I'm afraid that kind of power is only valuable if it reaches the level of the master of the soul. For them, it is still too far away. The power of that kind of belief is probably comparable to the power of reincarnation of the Soul Eater and others. For Xiao Yan, it is the end of the world, the mansion of the gods, and it is inviolable. However, the weak power of faith felt in Soul Flame seems to indicate that there are stronger powerhouses in the Soul Clan or Soul Palace with the 8-star fighting immortals. However, according to Xiao Yan's previous understanding, the strongest powerhouses in the Soul Palace are only at the 7-star or 8-star level. Soul Clan, the predecessor of Soul Palace, stands in Douyin Continent, but Douyin Continent is still a little worse than Li Soul Domain. How could there be reincarnation powerhouses? At this moment, Xiao Yan's cognition of Soul Peak became confusing again. It's really weird. There seems to be something interesting in your body. At this moment, Protector White also found something. His eyes wrinkled slightly. The black long sword and silver feather fan were held in both hands at the same time, and they stared vigilantly at Soul Flame. Just now, when he directly attacked Soul Yan's body protecting black mist with the ink-colored long sword, a throbbing surged in his heart, which could make even the powerhouses in the early stage of 8-star fighting immortal feel this kind of fluctuation. I am afraid it is not something ordinary. The power of the White Protector is indeed well deserved, so I can't neglect it. Wang Om! As soon as the voice fell, an extremely terrifying energy emerged from around Soul Yan, like a star, and immediately covered his body. For a time, a special energy seemed to be connected to a certain plane. A gigantic giant creature phantom seemed to be roaring towards here from afar. Summoning fighting skills? Not good. Seeing this scene, Protector Bai's eyes became dignified, and the dark-colored long sword streaked several energy ripples in the air. Coupled with the incitement of the evil feather fan, one after another was enough to tear the entire sky. Evil power suddenly emerged. Hey, your opponent, it's me. Just when such a terrifying attack was about to attack Soul Flame, Hall Master Huang Tang, Soul Wuji, suddenly appeared, squirming in the void, and a special power of space directly sent Protector Bai. Attack devoured. Damn it. At this moment, Protector Bai also realized something, turned his head to look at the criminal behind him, but found that these guys were quickly retreating, and I am afraid that it will be a complete failure in a short time. Soul Yan, hurry up, I always feel that the atmosphere here is not quite right. Stopping the attack of the White Guardian, Soul Wuji raised his head and looked up at Mar, who was incarnated in dark green mist, and wrapped the entire evil cauldron, as well as countless humans and sea beasts on the evil tree. Projecting away at the evil cauldron, a wave of prestige that made him extremely uncomfortable slowly diffused out. Give me 5 minutes, only by summoning this guy can we form a crushing situation, and the guy from the Holy See, it seems. Soul Yan hesitated, the voice just fell, the whole body was shaking, and the blood mist thoroughly emerged. In the space shrouded in blood mist, blood lines were outlined, as if summoning a monarch creature. Once summoned by it, I am afraid that this battle will become meaningless. Wait, what are these guys doing? Now it's clear that the Soul Palace has the upper hand. Why do they still spend so much time using the summoning fighting skills? At this moment, Xiao Yan was at a loss and could not understand the actions of the two. I remember that Mar said that they were not only stared at by the Soul Palace, but also the people of the Holy See, but the people of the Holy See have never shown up. Ji Xuan shook his head. These guys, summoning creatures is probably to guard against the Holy See. And the reason why they didn't defeat these sinners White Protector and others in an overwhelming manner is probably because of the devil fruit. Once the devil fruit ripens, this place will instantly turn into dust. Xiao Yan took a deep breath and said word by word. Next, it's time for us to do it. How about it? Do you have the courage to fight? The next moment, Xiao Yan's eyes flashed, and a bold idea emerged, and the devil fruit could not fall into their hands no matter what. Yes! Ji Xuan gave Xiao Yan a surprised look and agreed. We are like this. Xiao Yan was overjoyed immediately, and told Ji Xuan the plan for a moment. Will this be too risky? These are 2 8-star fighting immortals, and there are not a few other powerhouses with 7 or 6 stars. Hearing Xiao Yan's plan, Ji Xuan hesitated. Don't worry, I have already sensed the aura of the Holy See powerhouse. We only need to be responsible for completely disrupting this place, so that we can fish in troubled waters and take away the devil fruit. Xiao Yan said with a smile. Okay. The two of them looked at each other, and then they concealed their breath and quietly walked towards the evil tree. Gamma, with the remaining power, go back to defense. Protect your excellency. After Shun breathed, Protector Bai's eyes suddenly froze, and he snorted coldly. Sir, there are many strong people in the Soul Palace, and they are well prepared. We are not their opponents. Gamma was also wounded at this time, and he came to the White Protector with less than half of his sins. As for other sins, so has completely fallen into the hands of the Soul Palace. Do it. Without any hesitation, Soul Wuji snorted coldly at the powerhouses in the Soul Palace, trying to completely obliterate these guys. Shengyu, Tiansheng. At this moment, Protector Bai was violently filled with a special cyan energy, and in a short period of time, he was transformed into a fallen angel with the power of life and death, exercising the most tyrannical power. Boom! For a time, the space at the bottom of the entire nest suddenly trembled, and a harsh sound stimulated everyone present, like the sound of nature. Is it fairy magic? Let me see whether it is the power of immortality, or the power of my summoned creatures. Get out of here, darkness. Seeing such a fierce cyan evil force completely filling the entire space like a canopy, Soul Flame's pupils shrank tightly, and the blood mist all over his body suddenly trembled, and a behemoth quietly emerged. It was a knight with a height of 100 meters, covered in black armor. His eyes were sharp, his body was full of a strong depression, and there was a strong aura of death between the lines. The dark underworld is a more powerful existence than the Dark Knight. Fall for me. Looking at the supreme monarch-level creature in front of him, the White Protector suddenly roared, and the sky made of cyan energy at the bottom of the lair slaughtered it directly from the top of the sky like a waterfall. It became violently uneasy, as if it would collapse completely at any time. Ho ho ho! The dark underworld warrior seemed to be provoked, his footsteps abruptly stepped away, and he began to trample at will. Every time he walked, it would bring a touch of dark death power. Those powers turned out to be the sea beasts that ate away countless humans around him. Anger. Crash. The evil sky splattered directly on the body of the dark underworld, but the strange thing was that it did not bring any violent energy fluctuations, as if a breeze was blowing in the face. On the other hand, the dark underworld was like an asterisk of death. Step by step towards the canopy of the evil tree. Every time I stepped on it, it was like a step closer to the asterisk of death, and a solemn meaning of death emerged in everyone's heart. It's over. Seeing this scene, both Soul Wuji and Soul Yan laughed at the same time. Continuing from the previous episode 1799. Hey! Just when the dark underworld was less than tens of meters away from the White Protector and the others, two hurried winds broke out. Suddenly the dark underworld seemed to be attracted by some force, and stood on the original ground. On the ground, his dark pupils looked at the two inconspicuous figures under his feet. Red flame sea of fire. With a cold snort, a fiery red flame surrounded the dark underworld master. Although this level of flame did not hinder him in any way, it attracted all his attention and let him escape from Xiao Yan. I smelled a special odor. That kind of breath can only be possessed by the real overlord of the dark plane. Even if it is changed to the human world, only the reincarnation powerhouse can possess it, so it has been stagnant for a while. Who? In the blink of an eye, the surging underworld warrior who could obliterate Protector Bai and the others was actually stopped by a nameless generation, and Hunyan and Hunhun Wuji looked at the ground with cold eyes. Xiao Yan? In just such an instant, under the watchful eyes of the two hall masters, the dazzling soul power directly let Xiao Yan's disguise be self-defeating. The camouflage in front of it is also like playing a family. Has it been discovered? Xiao Yan sneered and waved at the two hall masters of Soul Wuji, but the severe oppression on their bodies caused Xiao Yan a lot of prestige. Come here, catch him for me. Seeing Xiao Yan's expression like a clown who was not afraid of death, Soul Wuji snorted coldly. Now with the appearance of the dark underworld, Soul Yan can't get out and must control the dark underworld at all times, and he can't act rashly in order to guard against White Protector and Mar, but Xiao Yan is already on the list of their Soul Palace. I am afraid it is a great gift for them. Boom! Immediately, several 6-star Do Xian's Soul Palace powerhouses roared away at Xiao Yan with a fierce offensive like poisonous snakes. Almost. Xiao Yan smiled at Jizan in the black robe behind him, and Jizan also responded. Susu. Heaven has a way, you don't go, asterisk has no door to break in. The digital 6-star fighting immortals did not hesitate, and the black mist filled their bodies, and a chain of pitch-black chains roared out of their bodies, facing Xiao with the momentum of thunder. Yan roared away. A big gift for you. Next. Seeing this, Xiao Yan smiled strangely at him, and his figure quickly retreated. Wooden tree wrapped around the world. With a light snort, a dazzling green aura filled the surroundings of the dark underworld warrior. For a time, the attacks of several Soul Palace powerhouses were actually stopped by him, and then one towering tree appeared one by one. The bottom of this nest is filled with a lot. Who? Aware of this sudden wood attribute energy, several Soul Palace powerhouses are currently senhen and vigilant. Brother Xiaoyan, it's up to you next. Ji Xuan finished speaking, and under the ground around him, huge green branches accompanied the trees, cracking from under the ground, entangling Ji Xuan, and immediately his power was in the speed skyrocketed, and he was instantly entangled with those Soul Palace powerhouses. This seemingly unremarkable guy, his combat power is as perverted as Xiaoyan. The power of one person temporarily entangled several 6-star fighting immortal level powerhouses? This guy's strength is only in the early stage of 5-star fighting immortals on weekdays. At this time, he can temporarily possess the late-stage power of 6-star fighting immortals. It seems that he is also a guy who should not be underestimated. But compared to these, it's still this guy. After Xiaoyan finished speaking, he followed the spread of the flames and climbed to the head of the dark underworld. At that time, an awe-inspiring aura of death filled Xiaoyan's body. Now the power of Sin has collapsed, but what Xiaoyan has to do now is to temporarily help Sin, because the Holy Sea powerhouse has not come yet. Once Sin completely collapses, I am afraid that the devil fruit will also become the possession of the Soul Palace, so in any case, Xiaoyan and Ji Xuan also wanted to give it a try. What the asterisk is this guy doing? At this moment, Hun Wuji and Gamma were at a stalemate, and when Hun Yan was about to control the Dark Underworld Master to obliterate everyone, seeing Xiaoyan's strange scene, he couldn't help but be surprised. A bad omen flashed from the bottom of my heart. Big guy, Xiaoyan just climbed in front of the head of the Dark Underworld Warrior, looked at the Dark Underworld Warrior under the protection of the heavy black armor, and smiled lightly, but this guy's strength is probably comparable to the human 8-star fighting immortal level. For a while, Xiaoyan was suppressed by an inexplicable force all over his body, and the pressure increased greatly. Boom! With a loud voice, the Dark Underworld shuddered proudly, and a dark force spread out from his body like a tide, and immediately scattered Xiaoyan, as if he wanted to wipe out this tiny ant with one blow. Wing Om. At this moment, the eternal fire eternal ancient ruler behind Xiaoyan also burst out with a dark energy that he had never seen before, which easily protected Xiaoyan from the erosion of this energy tide. Standing quietly like a stubborn stone on his shoulder, his eyes suddenly turned into the deepest dark color. There is no luster, just like the deepest dark asterisk that has fallen, it is extremely eerie. Crash! It's just that the other powerhouses are not so lucky. The dark tide has just been released, and the bottom of the entire nest has become like an erupting volcano, shaking violently, and the originally strong branches above the evil tree have become splendid. When it fell, only the crown of the tree remained motionless. As for other Soul Hall powerhouses and sinners, they also received different degrees of prestige. Countless trees at the bottom of the nest are growing wildly, and under Ji Xuan's control, they are constantly entangled and condensed. In addition to the attack of the dark tide, countless dark breaths and green vitality completely cover this place, and even the air changes. For a special form mixed with death and vitality. Dark Underworld? The Underworld was originally a part of the Shao clan. Using the summoning fighting skill in front of the descendants of the Shao clan is beyond your own power. But the light and sacred aura outside this lair is too strong. I have a soul remnant in this area, I'm afraid some. It doesn't matter. Let's go through the place in front of you successfully first. Soul Palace, Sin, it's really interesting. At this time, Xiaoyan's body fingered Emperor Yan's ring, and a sarcastic laughter seemed to come from waking up from a deep sleep. The ancient emperor, that kind of breath, seems to contain some kind of Sanskrit sound that purifies the dirt of the world, whether it is the evil dark power or other forces. In this Sanskrit sound, it completely disappears. Hoo! At this time, Xiaoyan looked very strange. Sweat flowed down from Xiaoyan's head like raindrops frantically, instantly soaking Xiaoyan's clothes, and Xiaoyan also underwent a very strange transformation. Because at this time Xiaoyan, with the emergence of black pupils, gently lifted the head of the dark underworld on the pale palm. It's like the ancient emperor is giving his courtiers rewards, and it's like the loyal and honest ministers salute the ancient emperor. Covered by black light, the entire space was scorched red. At this moment, countless people looked at the dark underworld and Xiao Yan in astonishment, and a throbbing appeared at the bottom of their hearts.